within 30 minutes, a quarter of Sinclair's force are casualties.
Oh my, yo, in 30 minutes? This is a massacre.
I think this is the American
1791.
American versus Native American wars or something like that.
For years, the United States Northwest Territory has simmered with violence between Native American tribes and U.S. settlers. After the humiliation of General Harmar's defeat the previous year, General Arthur Sinclair has orders from President Washington to lead a second attack against tribes of the Northwestern Confederacy, a punitive expedition to ensure...
Bro, did people actually pose like this? I'm not making fun of it, I'm just saying. People actually pose like this? I don't know, Loki goes hard.
...for future compliance. That summer, Sinclair's force assembles near Fort Washington, today the city of Cincinnati, Ohio. Troops then advance 18 miles to the banks of the Great Miami River and construct a supply base named Fort Hamilton. General Sinclair, however, has to travel 70 miles to Lexington to find his militia reinforcements. In the end, he gets just 400 men, less than half.
400? That's very little. That's extremely little. Only 400? How much Native Americans are they going up against? Aren't they going up against like thousands of Native Americans? Like they're going up against the whole Confederation, only 400 men?
Half what he'd been promised. In his absence, his second in command, Major General Richard Butler, is in charge. 48 years old, Irish-born, Butler had been a distinguished regimental commander in the Revolutionary War, frequently praised by Washington himself. He also has considerable experience of negotiating with the Northwestern Confederacy and knows several of the chiefs personally. Following
Wait. So let me get this straight, right? He knows the chiefs personally, but he's their enemy? That's very counterintuitive, is it not?
Sinclair's orders. As soon as Fort Hamilton is complete, Butler leads the army north. It's October 4th, a late start for what had been planned as a summer campaign. The nights are already...
Oh, that's already a bad sign. That's already... Oh, no. That's... Oh, October, bro. October, honestly... Oh, man. I don't even know. Like... I would just cancel that off. Like, freaking October is almost, like, winter, bro. What the heck?
Colder and days shorter. The army's advance through the forest is painfully slow. Narrow trails have to be widened for wagons and artillery. But there is a dire shortage of axes and saws. For the first 5 days of the advance, the army averages just 4.5 miles a day. When Sinclair rejoins...
4.5 miles per day? Is that... Actually, considering how small this army is, that's actually really terrible now that I think about it. Oh my gosh.
He is infuriated by the snail-like progress. But at every stage, he is hampered by a lack of equipment and supplies. He is particularly concerned about the shortage of flour for baking bread. On October 12th,
Flour. Man, was flour really like that easily available? Like all these videos that I react to, they always talk about how people need to eat bread, freaking bread. Makes me wonder, is that why people were shorter back then? Because they didn't eat their like nutrients that we have today? That's actually... That might actually be true.
Heavy rain is followed by the first frost. And in freezing mud, Sinclair's army grinds to a halt. Conditions for the troops are miserable. It rains constantly. Rations have been halved and
Bro, bro. First of all, you started this expedition in October. You started this expedition in freaking October. You didn't think to yourself, hey, let me go and get some winter gear just in case. Because right after October is, guess what? November. Why? There's no way that they did not go and do this without winter gear. I mean, if they did, that's so stupid of them. That's actually so stupid of them.
morale is at rock bottom. Soldiers begin to desert in growing numbers. Incredibly, the 6-month contracts of many levied troops now start to expire mid-campaign. And as soon as their time is up, many, understandably, choose to go home. 9 days into the advance, 40 miles north of Fort Hamilton, Sinclair orders the construction of another supply base. This one will be named Fort Jefferson. It takes 2 weeks to build. Sinclair
2 weeks? That's kind of fast. That's kind of, well, 2 weeks. Damn, that's still kind of fast. Wouldn't it usually like this takes like what? Like a while, like much longer than 2 weeks. Cause I was watching my Julius Caesar, go check it out if you haven't checked it out. But I was watching my Julius Caesar series, and that dude was able to build things like overnight, right? I mean, I always wondered to myself, like, how are these people able to build this stuff like so fast, like faster than what you'd expect, right? I don't know. If you know the answer to that, please answer my question. I would love to know that.
Sinclair's decision to secure his supply route in this fashion is militarily prudent, but it's costing a lot of time. And his troops remain cold, wet, and hungry. At Fort Jefferson, 3 soldiers are caught trying to desert. Sinclair decides to make an example of them, and they are hanged.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay.
The army is now down to 1,500 men. Already a third of its strength has been lost to sickness.
Wait, 1,500 men? Oh my gosh. Only 1,500 men? Oh, dude. The population of my country is 280,000 people, right? And our army is like 600 to 1,000. 1,000 men. Oh my gosh. He only has 1,500? That is so small. That's literally so freaking small. Why is it so freaking small? I kind of expected bigger. I don't know. Maybe because I'm like used to like watching my like Napoleonic Wars, and I'm like used to these big numbers like freaking 50,000, 30,000, 100,000. You know. So now that I'm watching this, I'm seeing these small numbers. I'm like, army? This is an army? That's not really an army. That's just a regiment, bro. But okay.
Desertion, or left behind to garrison forts. Things are so bad, Sinclair considers turning back. He himself is suffering agonizing attacks of gout that leave him unable to ride a horse.
Boy, this is nothing, okay? This is nothing, okay? Compared to what I saw when I was reacting to Napoleon in Russia, this is nothing. This is literally nothing, bro. This is absolutely nothing, okay? I'm sure if this was like Napoleon's men or something, they would be going through like it was nothing. Freaking hell, man. Americans are so... Americans are so weak. Not all of them. Like, I've seen like a good chunk of them that aren't like that, but that's like minority, bro. But most Americans are just so weak, bro.
But he decides to continue the advance.
Nothing, bro. Come
A few days
on.
later, it begins to snow, and the army, having again run out of flour, halts once more.
It seems somewhat extraordinary that the tribe should have allowed us to be here so long in the interior of the country and never. Dude, I'm wondering the same question. What in the world are the natives doing? Like they're just letting them go out and about. Like, what are the natives doing, bro? Like, are they not gonna do something? Breaking out, man.
As U.S. troops await supplies, Little Turtle and fellow commanders of the Northwestern Confederacy have been formulating their response to the expedition. They have observed the slow progress of Sinclair's force and already picked off a few stragglers and deserters. They know their forces are now evenly matched in numbers. So rather than retreat, as they'd done the previous year, the chiefs decide to challenge the U.S. Army head-on in battle.
Whoa.
The dense woodland and
Let him cook.
their experience as hunters and warriors will give them an advantage. Yet, it is a break with their usual hit-and-run tactics and extremely high risk. But so too are the stakes. General Sinclair is oblivious to the looming threat. His handful of scouts from the allied Chickasaw tribe have failed to detect the large enemy force.
Native Americans are U.S. allies? What? Why would they be allies with the U.S. for? The U.S. had nothing good in mind for Native Americans, or at least that I know of. Because like the most wars in American history were literally fought against Native. Like the U.S. were literally like expelling them from their lands, and they had Native allies. That is quite ironic. I mean, that's literally why the Native Americans sided with the British / Crown when the American rebels rebelled, because the British were siding with the British, gave them a better chance to actually like keep their land, or at least some of their land, and not get completely expelled. Right? I don't understand how in the world could the U.S. have Native allies.
Now, he makes a fateful decision. Expecting a vital flour convoy to arrive any day, he fears it will be hijacked by deserters from his own army. So he dispatches Major Hamtramck and 300 men of the 1st Regiment, his best troops, to find the convoy and escort it safely to the army.
That's a bad idea. Bad idea.
Then,
Bad idea. Like, your troops are very low already. That's
he resumes his march. On November 3rd, believing himself to be within striking distance of his target, Kikiongi, although in reality completely lost, he gives the...
Wait, so he's completely lost and he's still going? Oh my gosh. This is such an awful expedition already. Like, dude, why is he still going if he's lost? If you're lost, dude, just turn back. Like, at that point, you're risking your men. You're in literal foreign territory. And you're lost? This is not the time to be lost, fam.
The order to set up camp. He chooses a position atop a steep-sided plateau beside the Wabash River. Trusting to the strong natural defenses, he gives no order to fortify the camp. And while most of the army...
Holy heck, how bad can a general be? He gave no orders to fortify the camp. Okay.
bivouacs in rectangular formation on the high ground, limited space means the militia companies have to camp 300 yards away, on the other side of the Wabash. Here, just a shallow stream.
This is this is not. This is terrible. This is such a terrible. Oh my gosh. This is so awful. Nope, 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 nope. It gets worse. It gets worse. Every time I think it can't get worse, it gets even worse. This is gonna end so badly. If I'm pretty sure I know what's gonna happen, and I'm pretty sure this guy is gonna get completely annihilated. But we'll see.
If there is an attack, it will be very difficult for either camp to support the other.
Exactly. That's bad. That's horrible.
At that moment, more than 1,000 warriors of the Northwestern Confederacy are assembling, just 2.5 miles away. They know exactly where the U.S. forces are, and the next morning, at dawn, they will attack.
We can do nothing unless assisted by our great Father above. I pray that tomorrow he will cause the sun to shine upon us, and we will take it as a token of good, and we shall conquer. Oh boy,
In the cold early morning darkness of November 4th, 1,200 warriors move into position. They are in a crescent formation. On the left, Ottawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi warriors. On the
It's for Native American names, bruh. I don't know. I just love Native American names, bruh. It's just me. Is that just me? I guess that's just me. I just love their names.
right, Wyandot, Mingo, and Cherokee.
Oh my
And in
god.
the center, Shawnee, Lenape, and Miami. Just before
Shawnee.
7 a.m.
Shawnee. Oh, that name. Oh, that name sounds so freaking cool. Shawnee. Shawnee.
With the sun's first light streaking through the trees, they let out a giant war cry and advance. In the U.S. camp, soldiers are making breakfast. Rumors swirl of recent sightings of Native Americans.
Oh my gosh, this is actually so freaking hype. This is so freaking hype. They let out a war cry. Oh, dude, that's actually so hype.
Reports which have not been passed to General Sinclair. Now, militia sentries to the west are horrified to see hundreds of warriors advancing through the trees. They fire their weapons and run, pursued by a hail of musket balls. The inexperienced militia are taken completely by surprise. They fire a few shots and either run or are cut down where they stand. Their camp is overrun in minutes. Survivors scrambling through the freezing water of the Wabash and
Hell, dude, this is like like a bonsai charge. Not like exactly a bonsai charge, but it has the vibe of a freaking bonsai charge, bro.
the slope to the main camp. Here, U.S. regulars and levy regiments are stood too, alerted by the sound of war cries and musket fire. Their 6 cannon are loaded and ready to fire. But panic-stricken militia rushing into camp block their line of fire. And it is difficult to target an enemy who moves in small groups, dashing from cover to cover.
Wow.
When the
So the cannons are basically useless.
guns do open fire, their shots go high, crashing through branches overhead. While Miami, Shawnee, and Lenape warriors make a frontal attack on the camp, focusing attention, the 2 wings of the Native American Army push through the woods to encircle Sinclair's camp. U.S. outposts are quickly overrun or flee back to camp. Firing from cover, Native American sharpshooters begin to pick off U.S. gun crews and officers.
Oh my gosh.
Within 30 minutes, a quarter of Sinclair's force are casualties.
Oh my, in 30 minutes? This is a massacre!
Or have fled into the woods.
This is a massacre!
More men are falling every minute.
Oh my
Sinclair
gosh. Are they about to get encircled?
recognizes the danger his army is in
Oh my gosh, they're about to get encircled. Are they actually about to get encircled?
and orders Lieutenant Colonel Dark, commanding the 1st Levy Regiment, to clear the rear of the camp. Dark takes 5 companies, about 300 men, and leads them forward in a wheeling bayonet charge to the right. He is supported by 50 mounted dragoons on the left.
Okay.
Wyandotte warriors fall back before them.
Okay.
But it is a trap.
Oh.
They are luring the U.S. troops out of
Of course, it's a trap.
position. By the time they reach Buck Run Creek, they're cut off and surrounded.
Oh.
The Wyandottes renew their attack, inflicting heavy losses on Dark's men as they fall back to camp. Meanwhile, Shawnee warriors attack the southern end of the camp, where the slope is less steep. They overwhelm dragoons and levy troops guarding the perimeter.
Oh my gosh, this is so bad. This is so bad. This is so freaking bad. Holy.
Into the center of the camp. Here they fall on wounded soldiers and civilians sheltering behind the front line. These include camp followers, servants, cooks, wives, a few children. Dozens are killed. Sinclair sends Major Hart, commanding the 2nd Regiment, to clear the camp at Bayonet Point and rescue any survivors. Hart's attack is successful, but he is shot and killed, and his men suffer heavy losses.
This is a parallel situation. This is... Bro, you need to break out. You need to break out. There is no point. You stay here, you will die. You oh my gosh. This is awful.
About half the U.S. regular officers are now dead, and second in command Major General Butler has been wounded twice. Some soldiers, stunned by the horrors unfolding around them, simply give up and cower behind any cover they can find.
Dude, I would give up too in that situation. Like, dude, you have muskets just surrounding on all sides. Dude, you can't do nothing about that. I can't even blame you for giving up.
It is now 8:30 a.m. A short lull in the fighting follows, which Sinclair uses to pull in his perimeter and form a tighter defense. It is the quiet before the storm. Little Turtle and the war chiefs are rallying their men for one final attack.
Oh my gosh. Exposed to a crossfire, men and officers were falling in every direction. A few minutes longer and a retreat would have been impractical. Delay was death. Oh, delay is death. Not was, well, yeah, it was because it already happened, but in this case, it's happening,
2 hours
so.
have passed since the initial attack, and Sinclair sees that if they do not break out through the enemy lines now, his entire force will be wiped out. The handful of surviving officers rally the men for a do-or-die charge back down the trail by which they'd arrived. With fixed bayonets, U.S. regulars lead the way, pushing through the enemy's skirmish line. Anyone who can still walk hurries behind, but dozens of wounded are left to their fate. The breakout soon turns into a mad dash as terrified survivors dump weapons and kit in their race to escape. Sinclair lingers at the rear of the column to ensure as many get clear as possible.
Oh wow, respect. That's actually respectable. Risking his life. Wow, that's actually really respectable.
He is one of the last to leave the battlefield.
Oh, okay. St. Clair, you might be bad. You might be a very rubbish general, but commendable. I commend you that you didn't just abandon your men like that.
Warriors pursue the shattered U.S. Army for several miles. Then they return to the campsite to loot and finish off the wounded. Among them, Major General Butler. The warriors of the North
Brutal, man. No prisoners, man. Imagine. Makes you wonder how the natives were like with each other before the Europeans came. Because I see so many people, right? They like to say that, oh, the natives before the Europeans came, they were this utopia society, and the Europeans came and destroyed them. Like, no, they were not. They were extremely warlike, many of them, and not only that, but the natives died. 90% died from diseases. Okay, that's literally how they got wiped out. Freaking. But still, though, like, I really wonder, like, what life was like for the Native Americans before the Europeans came.
Northwestern Confederacy celebrate into the night. The Battle of the Wabash, which would come to be known as Sinclair's defeat, is over. The U.S. rout doesn't stop until exhausted survivors reach Fort Jefferson that evening, a distance of 30 miles. Here, the roll is taken, and their appalling losses revealed. 2/3 of the army have been either killed, wounded, or are missing. All
2/3 of the army, bro. Oh my gosh.
6 guns have been lost, along with the baggage train and 1,200 muskets. Native American losses are around 20 dead and 40 wounded.
Complete one-sided massacre. Such a one-sided massacre. It blows my mind how awful this was. I mean, from the very start, I knew that this was already going to be bad, but I didn't expect it to be this bad.
It has been an utter rout and a humiliating defeat, the largest the United States Army will ever suffer against Native Americans, and costlier than any battle of the Revolutionary War. But it was not entirely unforeseen. General Harmar, defeated himself by Little Turtle the previous year, had expressed grave concerns about Sinclair's expedition. His views were recorded by Lieutenant Denny, unfortunate enough to have served in both expeditions.
And he survived? And he survived?
Harmar saw with what material the bulk of the army was composed. Men collected from the streets and prisons of the cities, carried out into the enemy's country, and the officers commanding them totally unacquainted with the business in which they were engaged. Not any
That would explain a lot. Because, I don't know, I think this expedition was rushed. It was too rushed.
one department was sufficiently prepared.
Yeah, I
Both
agree.
quartermaster and contractors extremely deficient.
I agree, this was
It
so
was a
bad.
matter of astonishment to him that the commanding general, who was acknowledged to be perfectly competent, should think of hazarding, with such people and under such circumstances, his reputation and life, and the lives of so many others. Knowing, too, the enemy with whom he was going to contend, an enemy perhaps superior to an equal number of the best men that could be taken against them. Sinclair's defeat led to the United States' first congressional investigation. Their report cleared Sinclair of personal blame, but found a long list.
What? What? He was clear of personal... Oh, I disagree. I think he should have a little bit more blame for that, but okay.
Failures in the preparation and execution of his campaign. The next U.S. general sent to take on the Northwestern Confederacy, General Mad Anthony Wayne, would first impose major reforms on the U.S. Army. He would insist on more resources, greater professionalism, improved training and tactics, and better reconnaissance. For the Native Americans, the Battle of the Wabash was a brilliant victory, won through courage and tactical skill. It marks out Little Turtle, Blue Jacket, and Bakongahalis as among the most successful native leaders of all time.
Bro, this is so hard. This is so hard. You cannot tell me this is not hard.
In the wars against the United States. But it also proves to be the high point of their resistance.
Oh, really?
Their enemy would soon escalate the Northwest Indian War, and under the leadership of General Wayne, bring it to a conclusion at the Battle of Fallen Timbers. The inexorable westward march of the United States would continue. Can't
Another banger Epic History TV video. You made it all the way to the end. Make sure you subscribe for more historical reactions. If you have any suggestions that you want me to do, make sure you comment it down below. Eventually I will do it. Don't forget to like the video. Stay tuned for more. Check out my videos on my channel if you like history reactions. And goodbye.